సో మనుషి మీకు ఈబీఎస్ Oracle SQL PL/SQL basics వచ్చా మీకు? So just wanted to know your background, like how depth you know the knowledge.
SQL Basics వచ్చి సార్.
SQL basics వచ్చి, okay, no problem. So I shared one link yesterday in our group actually, to how to install the SQL developer. Just go through that YouTube video and install SQL developer. We need a SQL developer to practice Oracle SQL and PL/SQL. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we covered the demo session first day and second day, why Oracle, and so what are the roadmap to get, to get the Fusion technical role in the market. So that part we covered. So as your father said, like, so you are more interested in Java side, it's okay. So if you know Oracle SQL PL/SQL, it add an advantage, and you must and should learn one Oracle data, any database. So SQL they will use in all the Java projects as a backend. So yesterday we just discussed other topics. So today I'll concentrate on how to create the table and retrieving the data from the table. Two topics we will cover in 1 hour session. So
Okay, sir.
once you connect to the database, so creation of the table and selecting the data from the
Yeah.
database.
Hi,
Okay.
sir. Sorry to disturb you. Are
Yeah.
you sharing your screen?
Oh, 1 minute. Let me show.
Oh,
So this is easy actually in a Zoom, right? Rather than the Google Meet.
yeah.
Hi, Gangadhar. So
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. So creation of the table. First, I'll create one table. This is the student table. Let me create this. And then we'll go on topic in depth, like why we used all those things. So I'm just creating this table. It got created. I think it is already there. I'll create one more table like student one. So it's created. So what are the concepts we need to, concentrate while creating the table in real time? So first thing is like we need to discuss with the functional person or directly client that what is the requirement. Based on the requirement, we need to choose the list down the columns and what is the table name and everything. In real time, we don't give, this is the syntax actually. For any table, create table, table name, column name, data type and width. Okay, column name and width. Width is not mandatory for all the data types. Only character and number data types we have a width like number 2,6 and varchar 2,60, 2 like that. So it's a precision actually. For number, if you take the we'll go in depth for the number data type, varchar to character. But to start with the creation of the table, so this is the syntax: create table, table name, column name, data type and width. So width is not mandatory actually. We don't use in the real time. For number data type, sometimes we use. So in the database, if you create the table, first thing is table name should be unique. No two table names, it should be unique and it should be 30 character length only. So if it is exceed 30 characters, it won't take data type. That is the rule. Oracle given a table name length for any Oracle table. Okay, 30 character maximum length it will take. And coming to data types, so we have these types of data types. Mainly we will use in real time: character data types, number data type, long, date, large data type I never used in 15 years. Blob and CLOB we use, row ID. Okay. So character data type in this also, we generally use blindly varchar 2 because yesterday we discussed if we use the character data type, so it is the fixed length. Fixed length in the sense, let's suppose first name is there in the table. If you insert my name, it is a 5-letter characters. So it will padded with the spaces for next 5 characters. So that is the disadvantage in the database. It unnecessarily it will occupy the space. So that's why we don't use the character data type. Nchar, this is the old versions of data. Nchar and nchar varchar 2. Only thing we use varchar 2 of like 30. So what is the advantage of varchar 30 means? So if at all my name is 5-character length, we define that though we define 20 or 30 characters, so in the database it will take 5 characters space only. So that is the advantage of varchar 2. So for any character column in the table, we blindly go and use the varchar 2 data type. For number, we use precision and a separator. Precision in the sense, let's suppose $2,000 or 2,000 rupees are there. Sometimes we want to store the data like 2,000 and zero zero. So that time this we will define the data type like number 20 comma 2. 20 comma 2 means up to 20 numbers digits it will store, it will allow for this particular column. After that, it will automatically take the .00 value. But in general, we use only number only. I never used number 10 comma 2 like that. Okay. So long data type, we not used a long data type also. So this is also character data type only. So date, which is very important, date data type, we will cover in depth in going sessions. So any date, let's suppose date of joining or date of birth. So we will enter data like 20 March 2001 like that, right? So this format or anything, DD, there are different types of formats are there. DD, MON, YY, YY, or DD, YY. So all the formats it will take by default if you mention column data type as date format, date data type. Okay. Large we don't use. Blob and CLab, yesterday I told like I don't know the maximum length, but it is 4 GB data. Up to 4 GB data it will store. Okay. So the blob and CLab, there is a difference. This is a structured data it will store. CLab different types. Because why I am not going into in-depth means data types. Okay, if at all, if you get a requirement, if data is more than some MBs, 20,000 or 40,000 characters, we can manage through varchar 2. But if it is exceeding large number of data or something, images, files, or something you are getting in the database, then simply go and use blob or CLab, it will work. So row ID, we don't declare explicitly or create any column with a row ID. By default, any table, let's suppose we created the table. So I'm just querying select star from table. There is no data. Let me query the employee table. So select row ID. See, by default, every table will have the unique ID generated by Oracle itself. There is no two values are same. It's a unique ID. When you insert the data, by default, it will create row ID column. Row ID must and should. Oracle by default creates one row ID column for every table, and it will, whenever we insert the data, first row ID value assigns for that particular record, and then our data will be inserted. So this is the unique value and row ID is the data type. You got it right. So in real time, row ID is very useful in real time projects. We will use that going forward. So concentration here, like so in real time, when you create the table, concentrate like table name should be within the 30 characters limit. Okay, and in database, so you created the table. Let's suppose you created table, create table name. This is the caps letter. I created the table name like student 11. One more table got created. But whatever the name you are given, so in the database, all the values in the sense table name, column name, and everything, it will store in the caps letters only. It's not like that I have taken init cap, here also init cap, here full caps letters. So it won't store as is. Okay, you got it right. So it will store in the caps letters only in the database. So you can query small or caps, no issues. It will give the data. EMP or EMP both are same. So this is the creation of the data. So there are lot many concepts while creating the data table, that primary key, foreign key, everything is there. But we'll go step by step. First, how to create the basic table that we are going to concentrate on today. So I created the table student with these four different types of data types we are using here. Student ID is number, first name, last name, date of birth, date of joining, okay, fees and gender. So with these columns, I created the table. This is the simple creation of the table. So how to retrieve the data from the table? Selection of the data from the database. So there is a syntax again. Select distinct keyword, column name 1, alias, from table, from keyword, and table name. What exactly it means? So I have created the table select star from EMP is the table name. So this is the simple select statement, but going forward, so we may get the requirement like, okay, get the 10th department data, get the salary who is having 5,000, get the high date who is having who joined in between 1980 and 1981. To write all these things, we can write in one single statement all these validations. Going forward, if we cover aggregate functions, group by class, having, and everything, so we will cover step by step. So only concentration today is how to create a table and how to get the data from the table. So concentrate. So data types, we will use varchar2 for any character columns, and the date data types we will simply use date. If at all number, we will use number data type. For now, this is enough. So, and one more thing is, so I want to uh, there is a concept like literals. What exactly literal means? So sometimes in real time, so with the I'm querying the specific columns, okay, employee number, comma, salary, comma, I'm just writing this. I'll tell you what exactly it is, from EMP. See, this is nothing but literal, we call it. Literal, we call it as in Oracle terminology. So why we use, where we use in real time, I'll tell you. But if you write something in single quotes, so it will give as many number of records. I have around 20 records, 16 records in my table. For each and every record, it will repeat that value with the same column name. See, this is the column names, employee number, salary, and these are the values. In the header section, it is showing column name, but for this literal value, it by default taken this as a column name and it is repeating the same value as many number of times. Okay, so this way also we can use text, different unique text in the selection criteria. Okay, so now how many types we can select the data from the database? Star means every entire data we will receive, whatever the data, there is no filter at all the records we received. Okay, and one more thing is I want to get the jobs. There are 16 records are there. If you see, there are multiple jobs are repeating, right? So I want to see how many department in the sense distinct jobs are there in the in the employee table. So to see that, I will use the distinct keyword, distinct of job from EMP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because I inserted job as a 50 while practicing, and there is a null value also. Because yeah, here one more thing. We need to cover the null regarding null. Okay. So while inserting the data, I'll explain you. So distinct, what is the usage of distinct means to get the distinct values for any column. So distinct of employee number. All 16 I'll get. Why? Because employee is unique, right? So this is the primary key column in the table. So we don't use distinct of primary key column. It's a blunder. There is no use at all. Distinct of department number. How many departments are there? If you want to see, so again here you observe I'm using sometimes upper, sometimes lower. There is no difference at all for the column name or anything. But thing is, I'll tell you, Oracle standard is, just remember this. While writing the code, you may write like in uppercase, lowercase, or init cap, or however. But thing is, while storing in the database, it will go in a uppercase, first thing, first point. Second point, so if there is in a PL SQL code, something is there, you need to align the entire code, like you need to follow the coding structures. What is the coding structure means? All the Oracle standard keywords in the sense, this select from distinct or any function sum, okay, data type date, or whatever. Oracle predefined keywords must and should be in caps letters. So better you try to habituate to use the Oracle standards, like why I'm just retrieving the data, select star from EMP simple. Okay, everyone practice like in this way only, but the standard way is you should write caps in select statement, select star, and then from class below the select, here table name, and where class department number equals to 30. So this is the Oracle standard format, and you must and should follow in real time if you are in a project. In PL SQL code, everything, and this should be aligned like this. You need to format the code also. This is how it will appear in the real time code. Try to practice in this way. Okay. So now we created the table, student table, right? So I'm just querying the table. student. And one more thing, some people use Oracle standard keywords in small and table name and all user defined words are caps. Either way we can use, but Oracle standard is this should be in caps, and user defined these table names and all these things will be in a caps letters. Okay. So now there is no data. So how many? So we are going to insert the data. Student ID here we consider it as a primary key, though we not define explicit primary key. So what exactly primary key means? Every table, like we have a unique surname, same way our other identity, same way for every table, one column will have a primary key column, and it must and should be defined explicitly in real time. There is a syntax to create the primary key column, means column name we will create, then later we will make that column as a primary key with some syntax. I'll tell you in future classes, but for now we consider it as a primary key. Now it indirectly taken it as a not null column. Let me describe this table. Null, no, it not taken it as a not null column. We need to, what is not null column, null column, I'll tell you. Simply, now I'm going to insert the data. So how to insert the data? What is the syntax? We can insert multiple ways. Like if I want to insert all the columns, insert student, then values is the keyword again here. You need to give the values, like what is the student ID 10, first name, and second name, date of birth. Okay, insert into. So one row inserted here. Okay. See, this is the one way. What I'm doing here, I am trying to insert all the columns in the table. So that's why I'm not mentioning column names, specific column names, when I want to insert all the columns which are available in the table. So that's why I'm giving all the values to respective columns. So here we need to concentrate, like the column sequence should be same. So if I give Swami here and 10 here, it will give the error. Data type mismatch will be there. I'll share the meeting link in group again. You people join after 10 minutes, okay? So here data type mismatch will be there. So that's why we need to concentrate. You need to follow the sequence of the data type, whatever we define. So one row got inserted. I'm just querying the data from the student table. Now we will get the data. Okay, there are two records. I might insert it 2 times. See here, it is not primary key, and we not explicitly define it as a primary key. That's why duplicates records are taking. In real time, there are no two student IDs is same or two employee IDs are same, right? So that's why we need to define one key as a primary key so that it will insert unique record. It should not be duplicate values. For now, we are concentrating how to insert the data. So second one, here if you observe, I did not mention the column names. So the actual syntax is student ID, gender. Again, it inserted. So this is the actual syntax to insert the data into the table. This is very, very important in real time. So when you insert the data, so first thing is we don't insert. I mean, sometimes first time we will insert the data. Sometimes while validating the data or updating the data, only specific columns we will insert. That time, what we need to do. So whatever the columns you are going to insert, that columns only you have to mention. Okay. So I removed three columns, values 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So this I am removing. Missing expression. One row got inserted. Now, say remaining columns are null. So this is the second way of inserting the data. All the values at a time, specific columns in the table. Okay. And if you observe, I have taken, I'm giving date of joining as a date. Let me add the date of joining, DOJ. And here I'm explicitly giving the date as 20 March or something 2000. Okay. It got inserted, right? Here, I can give explicit values to the column, specific column, or I can use user defined functions or Oracle standard functions. What exactly it means? Let's suppose instead of giving explicit date here to the date of joining column, I can give sysdate, which is the Oracle seeded function. Sysdate is the function. Today's date with date and time it will give. You can see the difference. See here. This is the explicit date. This is the sys date. So while inserting the data and whenever we pass the values to the column, we can use the Oracle standard functions. In going forward, whenever we cover the PL/SQL, instead of this user defined predefined function, we can call any function. First we will create one function, and that function also we can call in the insert statement or anywhere. So these are the different ways to insert the data. Okay, two more topics are there. So there is a null and space. Very, very important this one. Null and space. What exactly I want to tell you, like space. So both are not same. Here it is showing as null. It is a null value. Let's suppose select star from student. Yeah, here it is there. Where gender is null. How many records I got? 4 records. Whichever it is showing as null, so we got those 4 values. Let's suppose I am inserting one more record with gender and I'm giving gender as space, not null. If you don't insert anything, it will by default consider as a null. Okay, I'm just giving space, one space, one row inserted. Now So as per you, if you imagine like a null and space are both same, it should give 5 records, right? But we are getting 4 records only. Now, is not null. When you query not null, the space record also, see, before it is showing as a null, explicit null for that particular record, but wantedly I inserted space. So if you copy here, it will show one space also. Okay, like that, space and null are both are different, and null is not a value actually. It is not a value. So we will insert the null value, no need to insert the null value, and we can query the null value. Okay. And one more thing is not null equals to null. It is not correct actually. Let's suppose date of joining and fees both. Let's suppose date of birth and fees both have null values, right? So while querying the data, if you give date of birth equals to fees, we don't get null equals to null record. I mean, what I'm trying to say, simply just try to remember this point. There is this is not a true statement, simply. Okay. Not null equals to space, and not two null values are same. Okay, these 2 points, please remember. We will use in real time these 2 values. So yeah, so this is the simple insertion statement and inserting the data, inserting all the values and inserting specific values. And one more thing, inserting with the user defined functions. Okay, these concepts we covered. And let me share you one more link. We will cover in next 20 minutes. What is the ampersand, where we use this? What is this exactly? Okay. I'll share you one more link. If not, okay. Do you have any questions as of now? Ram, anyone?